What's up, guys? Mad Chiller FPV bringing another quick little how-to video, this time for EmuFlight. What is an EmuFlight? EmuFlight is a flight control firmware that's been in development for quite some time that is based on BUTterFlight and the Helio IMUF technology. EmuFlight has incorporated the IMUF tech into targets for multiple F4 and F7 FCs and continues support for the Helio V2, V1s, AIOs, the STRIX F10, and the MODE2FLUX. So it's really, really dope. It's bringing what the Helio guys started to every flight controller, and there's more targets being added constantly. I think it's a really amazing natural progression of the Helio project, and the guys, the devs are all new. They're killing it, and I've been testing it for quite some time now, and I love it. We've tested it on 5 inches, 6 inches, 7 inches, 9s and 10s. I've got some other guys checking it out on X, and we're getting really, really good results. So I decided to drop a quick video to show you how you could flash a Helio or a standard FC real quick. So I'm going to flash 2 different boards and just run you down on a couple of the features. All right, let's go. All right, guys, so what you're seeing here is the IMUF Updater. And what this does, this is strictly for a Helio board, either a Helio V1, V2, AIO, a STRIX F10, or a MODE2FLUX. And what this does is this actually flashes the code, the filtering code, onto the secondary F3 processor. It's really quick and easy to use. I'm going to include the links to the flasher and the hex files for the actual IMUF in the description below. But first thing you're going to do is you're going to tap ports. You're going to get a comm come up here, and you're going to hit connect. It's going to come up and it's going to say blah, 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 entering CLI. It's going to say this one's been flashed, but I'm going to reflash it just to show you. It'll tell you the current IMUF version and the Helio Spring firmware that's actually installed. So once you connect and you see that, you're going to choose firmware, and then you'll pick if you wanted to do the RC8 version or RC9B or RC9, whatever version you want to do. You're gonna select that. You're gonna hit open, and once you're done, you're just gonna hit flash firmware. It's gonna sit here for a few minutes and do its thing. And once this gets finished, it's actually going to pop up and it's going to say port closed. And that means that it's been successful. It hasn't thrown any errors, and you are good to move on to the next step. And we should be just about done. All checks have been sent. Here's your port closed message. Once that's done, you can go ahead and hit OK, and the application closes. Okay, guys, so the next step is going to be to get the EMU target actually flashed on the FC. Again, this is the Helio Spring. So you've got to put it in DFU mode. You have one of 3 ways of doing that. Depending on the firmware, you can connect to to whatever it was previously running. In this case, it's already flashed with EMU. But you would go in here and you would type BL for bootloader, and that should reboot the flight controller into DFU mode. If it doesn't, that's cool, no big deal. Your other option is to short the boot pins on the flight controller, or one of my favorite ways of doing it, which I feel is easiest, is to just go ahead and use the Impulse RC driver fixer. It takes a few moments. It's going to ask you if you want to make changes. If you happen to catch an error right now where it talks about exceeding the maximum number of devices, just unplug the flight controller and start over. It's a common error. It usually happens when you've had it connected to a config, Betaflight, BUTterFlight, whatever, what have you. This usually takes a few moments, but this is faster than trying to short your boot pins or anything else, especially if the FC's already installed in the quad and you don't want to tear it apart. So I'll also link this in the description below. So in another moment or two, we will have this running. And it's going to come up and give us this error about Google Chrome was running. Generally, this isn't an issue. It's just a legacy message because Betaflight config used to be a Chrome extension. So theoretically, now we're going to start up EmuFlight, and up here, your board will be in DFU. So the next step is to go to Update Firmware, and you're going to choose your board. STRIX F10. There's multiple targets here to choose from, but in this case, we are in fact using a Helio Spring V2. So we will scroll around and look for Helio Spring target, and we're flashing 1.10, and we definitely want to do a full chip erase. And once we have that, we're going to go ahead and load the firmware online, and then once that's ready, you're going to hit flash firmware. This takes a few moments. It's going to erase your flash. And once it's done, you'll be good to go to begin setup of the board itself. And boom. Okay, FC is going to reboot. And once that's done, you'll see your COM port come up here and you can hit connect. And as you can see, it is now responding, and it is flashed with EmuFlight. Okay, so what's going on here? Well, EmuFlight, as you can see, looks very similar to your Betaflight and Butterflight configs. You have your advanced expert mode here, as per normal. It's going to be very, very familiar, guys. So you're just going to go ahead and set your serial port where you have your RX wired. You know, turn on your smart audio goodies and such here. You know, turn on your GPS here, wherever it may be. Configuration page is the same. On a Helio, I can jump up to 32K if I'd like, run multi or D-Shot. Same stuff, nothing really changed here. I think where you're going to have the biggest change is going to be in the PID tuning tab, where you have, you know, feed forward and many of the traditional settings, but you're going to find eye decay. Then one of the big a couple of the big ones here are feathered PIDs, which are EmuFlight's version of buttered PIDs. It changes the PID feel, as you can imagine. Very cool. And then the other big thing that we really recommend you try is Emu Boost right here. This one right here. This effectively adds a non-linear boost to your P and I terms. Very similar to feed forward. We'd like to consider it an organic version of feed forward, if you will. So if you're looking for that kind of feel, that effect, you want things to be more snappy, you're going to turn this up. If you turn it up too high, you could get oscillations, but you have down here, you have Emu Boost limit. This is percentage based, so the amount of error added from Emu Boost is either gonna be like 20%, 22%, 100%, 250%, whatever you set this value to. So you're gonna want to start with, you know, a relatively moderate on your limit maybe, and then, you know, start pushing this up, and then you can kind of play around with this and see what you get. Very cool, kind of unique, something new for you to try. And then the other big change over here is going to be your filtering tab. Now, depending on the flight controller, these functions may or may not be enabled. On a Helio, you do not run traditional gyro low passes, as the IMUF filter actually handles this. So really, one of the big things I wanted to touch on is W, because a lot of non-Helio guys are not going to know about this. And what basically this does is this changes the window or wavelength of the IMUF filtering. And so for a 5-inch quad, you're going to want to stay somewhere between, say, 16 for like a light racer up to 32 for a standard 5-inch or a freestyle quad. For 6-inch, you probably want to bump that up to 64. You could try, I would even recommend maybe even trying it up to 128. And 7-inch, I would probably start at 128 and move up from there. And then as you get in your 9s and 10s, you might want to run, I don't know, 240 to 300 as you get into like an X-class style craft. But those are the big things. On a Helio board, you're not going to have functionality on your gyro filters, but you will have D-term filtering as needed. Okay, so to adjust your low-pass filters, you're going to come to CLI, and if you need to get in here and do that, you will come in and type get LPF, and that's going to bring up your IMUF axis filters. And to change your axis filters, you will just type set IMUF, and as you do that, it's going to pop up and it's going to give you choices of pitch, roll, and yaw here. So you're going to set your pitch, LPF cutoff equals, it'll tell you your range, and say I'm on a 5-inch, so I might go, you know, 120, maybe I'll call it maybe 115, and set IMUF, and do my maybe I'll do my roll next. Maybe I have more noise on roll, so I'm going to set that to 110, and then I'll set my yaw, set IMUF, yaw LPF cutoff equals 120, and then make sure you type save, and that's it. That's how you do your low pass filters on the Helio in EmuFlight. All right, guys, that's it for part 1. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you liked it, smash the subscribe button and give us a like. Thank you, guys. Send it.